I do say that I love my show a lot, and I do. I say it a lot. And the reason why is because of the great information that we hear on this show. And the other thing about networking is that whether it's you or someone that you may know somebody that's dealing with something, write this information down when you hear it, because it really could help somebody, especially right now with what we're going to be talking about. I have with me Vicki Castleman, and she's the owner of Gameday Men's Health. I want you to tell everybody first a little bit about yourself and what you do. Get right up on that mic so everybody can hear you, and tell them what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me back. It's great to be here. I am the owner of 3 Gameday locations in Northwest Phoenix, 2 of which are open, one in Arrowhead Ranch, one up in Desert Hills. And really the clinic was designed to help men have a comfortable place to go, to have solutions to optimize their health. And while we offer a lot of different treatments, most prevalent would be our testosterone replacement. Today we're going to talk a little bit about more of the conversation that people don't want to have, and that's talking about erectile dysfunction and how we may be able to help with that. But happy to talk about any of our treatments, but I know we were going to go a little bit deeper on that particular topic today.
But some of the treatments, just to get them out, what they would come to for you are what?
Yeah, so we offer what we call our core 4 treatments. So testosterone replacement or hormone evaluation for men. We do weight loss for men and women. We do vitamins and peptides for men and women, and we then do our sexual enhancement treatments as well. So those are kind of our 4 areas of primary focus. I have clinicians in both of our clinics that are, well trained and can answer a lot of different questions, but those are the 4 things we're really going to focus on if a guy's looking to optimize their health and just take how they're feeling to the next level, which is important. I know we talked a lot last time about men want to feel their best. They want to be a better husband. They want to be
a better lover,
a better dad, whatever it may be. And I think sometimes there's a stigma about them going to the doctor and getting the help they need, and our clinic is designed to make them feel comfortable to do that.
Well, and that's what I want to say is what makes you a little bit different, what differentiates you compared to some of the other places.
Yeah, so we're frequently referred to as the man cave environment. So we're like the most non-clinical looking clinic that a guy will step into. The color scheme, it's a sports theme. We'll have sports or good music on the TV, whatever is more attractive and comforting for the guys. But then besides that, the other differentiators are we really try to minimize the effort involved with getting care that they need, and that includes that we have a lab on site, which allows us to test their testosterone, as well as what's called PSA, which stands for prostate-specific antigen. And that's really a really important life-saving screening test that's done to check for prostate health. And we can give them both of those numbers in that first appointment, as well as a sit-down consultation with our clinician. And we do all of that complimentary. So within an hour, we're not sending them out to get blood work done or sending them somewhere else and come back in 2 weeks. Within an hour, they have some immediate answers and a consultation with a professional that helps them feel empowered to make some better decisions.
Now, the phone number to call them, it's 480-608-5138. And the website is Gameday, men's with an S, health.com. You can also do this one here. I'm going to do both of them. GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Phoenix as well. But the main thing is that what we're going to talk about today is a subject that most men don't want to talk about, and the women that are sitting next to the men right now are the catalysts. So,
yes,
like I've said this,
thrower.
Yeah, exactly. Hit them with your elbow and say, maybe we should look into this. And the main thing is to go in and you do complimentary consultations.
That's correct.
Right. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this because how important too does the testosterone play into their ED?
Yeah, so if erectile dysfunction is one of the concerns that they come into the clinic to talk about, and sometimes they don't want to lead with that, but I would say that there's really 3 key factors when we're evaluating erectile dysfunction. and hormone health is one of those 3 factors. And so that's, another reason why getting that complementary testosterone screening done is really important, because if you have lower testosterone, that could be a contributing factor to some of the erectile dysfunction issues that a man may be experiencing. So let's at least start there and potentially eliminate that concern. But like I said, it's one of the 3 key things that our clinicians are always discussing and trying to go deeper about with the guys, so that they understand how it may be playing into the issues they're experiencing.
So when somebody comes to you and they want to sit down and talk about this,
Yes.
okay, what does that look like?
Yeah, so again, our clinic is really designed to make our men feel comfortable. Privacy is very important, and we want to make sure that they understand that their concerns are definitely kept within our clinic, behind a closed door. But these conversations are hopefully ones that our clinician will help to kind of break down that fear and barrier of wanting to talk about it, because again, it's one of the topics that people are really afraid to mention, yet it's such an important factor in someone's possible overall happiness, not just with their marriage or with their relationships, but just how they feel about themselves. It can really affect them emotionally, and really helping a guy to feel comfortable and open up that conversation is what our clinicians are trained and experts at doing. They have some different tools to do that. They have some different assessments that help with that. But overall, we hope that the guys in this environment actually do feel comfortable going there with the conversation.
Right. Now, I just out of curiosity, do you know the percentage of men that deal with this issue?
So, statistically, I'd say 50% of men between 40 and 70 have experienced some type of erectile dysfunction. And one thing that I want to be clear about in this conversation is we're not talking about a one-time circumstance. We don't want people panicking like, oh gosh, I had a bad night last night and I need to run to the doctor. These are symptoms that persist over a period of time where they're noticing these changes. And you just did a great segment before me on roofing and the importance of maintenance, and I would consider this very similar in that category. This is a maintenance issue. If you're starting to notice changes, don't avoid the topic, because it can just get worse over time. And the longer you put off having the conversations and identifying possibly the root causes of these types of issues, maybe the more prolonged a treatment plan would take to correct it. So to be in front of it.
Let's talk about that here. We're going to do that right now, okay?
Okay.
What are some of the warning signs?
Yeah, so I think the 2 main factors that would be under consideration would be the strength and duration of an erection. And again, I know that these are probably, maybe people are cringing here and people talk about this, and I hope that's not the case.
No, because you know what, this is a health issue.
Yes, it is.
It's not, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, it is. So I hope that when you were talking about strength and duration of an erection, those are probably the 2 factors that I would ask for people to really consider. Like, has it changed? Everybody's going to notice bodily changes as they're aging. Age is definitely a factor that plays into erectile dysfunction, as well as some other health things that we can talk about. But those are the 2 key things that we would ask the men to really think about: is the strength of your erection changing, and is the duration of your erection changing? And if so, if you're not able to, complete penetration, for example, with a partner, then that would possibly be something that you would want to talk to somebody about.
I think the main thing is to go in and have that consultation and
Yes.
have the complementary testing done. I think that right there is the first with the start of everything. Then once you do that, you're going to feel comfortable because they've made it that way. They've made it a man cave for you to come in there and feel comfortable and talking to somebody who obviously is experienced in this, and then find out each person's individual as well. We're going to talk about that when we come back, about some of the different things that you can do for them as well. The phone number to call, it's 480-608-5138. They have 2 locations, Arrowhead Ranch, and the other one is Desert Hills. It's GameDayMen'sHealth.com, and you can go to the same one and put /Phoenix as well. Okay, So how am I doing with you?
I think it's good.
Okay, and now I want to kind of go more into what you can do, some of the different things. Okay, is that okay?
Yeah, let's talk about some of the treatment options so that they understand that it's non-surgical, non-invasive, no downtime. Those kind
Right.
of things are really important for people
Right.
to know, because I think they are afraid it's going to be more extensive.
Right, right, right. Well, the other thing that I would love to talk about, if we can, is also because there's so many commercials, right, on television of what they can get, and of course, whatever the color pill it is.
Yeah, the blue pill.
The blue pill, the blue
Yeah.
pill. Because, you know, I think it's important that they realize that that's not necessarily the way to go, and especially when you're buying that online,
Yeah.
and what are you getting,
Yeah.
you know, those kinds of things too. If we can, we'll try
Sure,
to get
no,
to that.
I'd love to talk a little bit
Very,
about that.
very,
It's
very
it's
important.
even common in our hormone treatments that guys are getting stuff from a grocery store, convenience store, or online, and but no one's monitoring how that treatment's working, and if
Can you
it's
imagine?
even legitimate, you know, elements that they're putting into their body. So it's very scary sometimes, the stories we hear.
I didn't even know, I mean, I knew online, but you just said the market, and that just like blows my mind. Blows my mind that
Yeah.
that could, and you know, you're gonna get what you get, right, when you buy it at the market, right?
Yeah, or a gas station,
Yeah,
or
can you imagine?
Yeah.
What would you say when you come in? What is the feedback that you get from the guys?
Well, I mean, our guys kind of become our friends, to be honest, because we're seeing them on a regular basis. They're coming in usually weekly if they're doing testosterone replacement. So I think the thing that they would say is we've created a comfortable environment for them. Like, they almost look at it as like they're going to a friend's house now.
Right.
Which
Or
is
just going in, watching a little football.
Yeah, sit down and have a chat with somebody, and it's quick and fast, but yet they know it's always kind of a friendly environment. They don't feel intimidated coming in to get that done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting for you to own 3 of them now.
Yeah,
That's
so
amazing.
2 open, 1 still on the way, but we'll
Wow.
get there. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Thank
But,
you.
well, and when you think about it, you're having 3, and I know there's a couple of different owners and stuff like that. The problem is there.
Yes,
There's a need
yes,
for it.
There's definitely a need for this.
Yeah.
And yes, for sure.
Mhm. So welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Vicki Castleman, and she is the owner of Gameday Men's Health. And yeah, we are talking a little bit about something that most people don't like talking about. It's a taboo subject, but guess what? It's probably talked about more than you know, number one. And the fact that it's not being talked about, it means that more and more relationships are probably suffering because of that. Now, there is help, and that's the cool thing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And I want you to talk a little bit about some of the different treatment options that they have, because I'm sure that just when you don't know what you don't know, which is what somebody said earlier today, they just envision these things, and it's not that at all.
Yeah, great question. You know, what we were talking a little bit about earlier is being in front of this topic and taking care of it almost like it's maintenance in a way when you start noticing issues, because the treatments that we offer are all non-invasive, non-surgical treatments. They don't require downtime, and they're things that we can do in our office pretty simply, and they have really effective results. So, you know, really they kind of fall into 3 categories. One of them would be a pill format. So, I mean, we talked a little bit about the blue pill on the break, but you know, definitely a prescription of Cialis or something of that nature might be appropriate depending on what's described to our clinician, and that might be just a starting point. But we also offer a couple of other treatments in office. One of them is called Gameday, and it's a radial shockwave therapy treatment. I know that kind of sounds a little scary.
Owie.
Yeah, we do provide numbing cream, but again, these are non-invasive, non-surgical treatments, and actually are, you know, minimal pain, to be honest, especially since we have the numbing cream that we can provide. But the radial shockwave treatment actually is then performing the direct shockwave, which helps to break down plaque and scar tissue. And a lot of our erectile dysfunction issues, you know, we talked about there's 3 areas. One of the 3 is really about blood flow. And as we age, the
Needs
blood
to wake up a little bit. You gotta shock it a little bit.
shock it, yeah. So to get the blood flowing, this radial shockwave treatment to the penis and groin area really is effective to help improve blood flow, and that can do a lot of I call it miracles for our guys to really start getting a more productive erection. So Gainswave treatment is one of our top I guess interventions we would recommend. And then third, we do something called a P shot. Again, we're talking about injections into a penis. I know no one's thinking, yay, I want to go do that, but we do offer numbing solution. It's a very quick, less than 5 minutes to complete it. But a P shot is injecting platelet-rich plasma into the penis. So some people may be familiar with that for joint issues, but we can do the exact same thing to help improve erectile function and help improve strength and duration of your erections through a P shot.
Well, the other thing too we were talking about earlier is where you're buying, let's say your little blue pill, okay? And you were saying, it just came out of you so easily how some of them are buying them in the market and at the gas station, and I was like, I only thought online maybe, but I can't, and you have to realize that whatever you're doing, and there's so much that comes to people, I mean, through television and social media, it's everywhere, of how to help with this situation. And, you gotta be careful, and obviously everything that you use, I'm sure it's gotta be FDA approved and things like that.
Yeah, everything's clinically approved. Our Gainswave technology is an FDA approved device.
I've heard a lot of good things about that too.
Yeah, and it's great for just joint therapy, to be honest. So we do it for elbows, knees, and erectile dysfunction. So it's actually a really effective piece of equipment for a lot of issues. But yes, to answer the question about getting I guess treatments from either gas stations or convenience stores or online, because this is such a maybe complicated or difficult subject for men to broach. They are trying to solve it somewhat privately, and so we hear these people coming in that have tried a lot of different things that aren't working, but understandably, because we really don't know the efficacy of some of the treatments they're choosing or where these products are coming from.
Oh, gotcha.
But they're really reaching out, trying to find a solution on their own. That's why I wanted to have this really direct conversation today, because we don't want it to be a taboo subject. We want men to feel their best. Again, that's the whole premise of our Gameday Men's Health Clinic, is to get men into a place where they can have these conversations and just get back to feeling their best. I mean, that's ultimately what it's about.
And men are notorious for not talking about anything, but especially when it comes to this, right?
That's true. Men are famous for kind of neglecting their own health. They're not wanting to go to a doctor. And again, I think this is a good time for the women to throw the elbow jab, because we hear it all the time. They don't have a primary care physician. They haven't been to a doctor. They hate getting their blood drawn. All of these things. And our clinic is really trying to create an environment that allows them to get those initial treatments and initial conversations done. Yes, we may have to refer you to other doctors because there's only so many treatments we will be able to do. But if it's a starting point and they can get some answers, then that's a great step in the right direction.
And be directed
yes.
where to go.
That's
Answers.
100% right.
Answers is a big thing. And these are effective different treatments that you have that are, they work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, one of the assessments that we use is, as part of our screening, we talked a little bit earlier about like some of the signs, but there is a clinical assessment called a SHIM, or a Sexual Health Inventory for Men. It's very short, it's 5 questions. And it has men rate factors of their erectile dysfunction on that scale. And it's been very interesting for us to do these SHIM scores before treatment versus post-treatment to see some vast improvements with how these treatments are really helping them to get to a resolution. So that is, it's a clinical assessment. It's not something we just made up. It's truly a clinical assessment that helps us evaluate it in a professional way, that we can point back to and see if people are getting the right results.
Now, there's a reason why not only do you have two, but
Mhm.
you have three. You have the third one that's going to be opening up,
Yeah.
and there are others. But
Yes.
there's a reason why they're popping up, and that you're getting because I would say more people than not, there are more men than not, deal with this. And now you have a place that you can go that's comfortable, that you feel good in. They made it that way, very sports-like,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But to be able to meet other people too, I'm sure it's done so that you can meet other people that are probably there as well, that are in the same situation, right?
Yeah, it's kind of been fun for us to see too, is just, not that these guys, especially if they're coming in for their weekly testosterone injections, they become friends of ours and we know about them and their family and their kids. But now they're starting to come in with their coworkers, or, they have become comfortable talking about this and say, hey, friend, you need to come with me. So, we have a group of 4 guys that come after work on a Monday afternoon, and I was kind of joking with them this week that I'm like, oh gosh, the boys club is here. But how great is it that they have found a place where they feel comfortable coming as a team and know they're going to get support, and you know what, we have a fun time with them, and they know that it's a comfortable environment.
It's time for people to be able to have this conversation and not get ewed out by it or
Right.
weirded out by it, because it's huge. And if you can help save one relationship, because unfortunately that is a big part of this, and when you're not talking about it, and especially with your significant other, right? And when you have people come in on that, is it usually just the men only, or when with the first consultation, or do the couples come in, or is it both?
That's a great question. We always welcome the partner to come in with the man if they're open to that, because oftentimes we hear, I want to talk this over with my spouse.
And guess what? How many times do they do that?
Yeah, so we would love it if the spouse would come in with them, or if they could anticipate what questions would your spouse have about these treatments, or what things are really happening in your relationship. I know it is uncomfortable, but we do hear about how it has affected the relationship and how it's putting a strain on their marriage, and that can be really another factor playing into the overall results that they're getting when they're not feeling confident. And it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy and kind of a vicious circle that they can get into. So yes, bring the wives in, and we'd love to answer their questions and have them be a part of the dialogue.
Now, when you've had some stories, I'm sure that you could tell, but generally, and I'm sure it's different for everyone, when do they start seeing a little bit of a difference?
So, again, depending on the type of treatment, the Cialis is more of a 90-day supply of, this, so we can evaluate after several months if they're starting to see improvements. The GainsWave treatment, we recommend usually of starting with 6 treatments, but most effectiveness, I would say, is after 12 treatments. So we sell those in 6, 12, and 18 installments, so to speak. But I would say most of the guys are getting the best results after they have had their 12th, GainsWave treatment. That's what they should expect time-wise, and that's usually a weekly treatment.
One thing that's for sure, this is a subject that should be talked about and not swept under the carpet. And right now, she has 2 locations. One is in Arrowhead Ranch, and the other one's in Desert Hills, and the other one is going to be where?
The Deer Valley area.
Deer Valley. So, they're popping up all over the place for a good reason. And the main thing for everybody is to have that first, the consultation, that you can also get the testing done, the testosterone testing, the PSA testing, really important to do, and get answers within an hour, you said.
Yeah, it's really awesome that we're able to do that in less than an hour.
Start with that. Now, their phone number to call, it's 480-608-5138. And I know that you do, obviously, these free consultations. You could check them out on their website. It's GamedayMensHealth.com, and you can put /Phoenix as well.